Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer episode 25. Now, if you remember from last episode, we get to see Kon and the rest of his group run into a small unit of Ulbrions. Yeah, that was a diversion. Those Ulbrions were just set there to stop Kon and his group, so I thought that was kind of funny and perfectly timed, because we do see Dukakis and his men jump right in, and they start to help Kon. So Kon now teams up with Elma Flora after that to deceive both the armies, both the Anti-Empire and Jungleberg in general, and just to avoid the war in general, if that makes any sense. And it does, because I thought Elma Flora was perfectly put in there at the right moment, but it really doesn't go as planned, although Kon's plan was right for the moment, but it was wrecked later on by the Archbishop, because the Archbishop makes his move with a giant fuzzy monster, I shit you not, and it was amazing. But again, that's where the episode ends, and all my final thought and rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right on in. So we open up this episode with the Olga sorority monster. Yeah, the Olga sorority has a fuzzy monster, like I mentioned, and I thought it was hilarious. And this fuzzy monster is sneezing or something, and he launches boogers from his nose that look like torpedoes that's hitting everyone. And again, this fuzzy monster destroys Elma Flora's little project she was working on, the fake Elvidia, which I definitely thought was worth mentioning. I mean, it was a great little cutscene, be honest. Now, we are thrown with a little bit of information about this fuzzy monster from the Olga sorority. Apparently, it's called Frozo. Interesting name. I kind of like it. You know, not a lot of names start with F that I can usually remember, but Frozo, it's a good name for a monster that I could care less about, to be honest. But still, this is a fuzzy fucking monster called Frozo. Apparently, the Olga sorority's ultimate weapon. One more time. Ultimate weapon. A fuzzy monster called Frozo. Really? Really? Fuzzy monster, that's all you got? I thought it was interesting to at least see something that fuzzy on screen once in my lifetime. And I saw it once in my lifetime. There you go. Minus anything from Sesame Street, of course. Sorry, Cookie Monster, we're not going there. Anyways, moving on past that, we are taking a little cutscene with Kon. Now, Kon, he actually asked Elma Flora if she can do anything with her magic. Like, the spotlight is now on Elma Flora. Can you do anything with your magic? Go. No. I was like, come on, seriously? No, you have all this magic, you're able to take Kon from one place in our world to your world, and you're telling me you can't even transport this fuzzy monster somewhere else? Really? Oh, you SOB, seriously? Elma Flora pussies out and says no, she cannot do anything. Some Ixion, really? Now, we are moving on past that to perfect timing, that's all I'm going to say. We see Dukakis, and he says, calls to arms. This is Dukakis. Even seeing this fuzzy monster, he says, call to arms. I'm like, perfect, right? And Kon tries to reason with him. It doesn't really go as planned, though. I mean, this is Kon. He's good with talking people out of stuff and talking people into stuff, but it's just not ringing a bell with Dukakis. And then Dukakis, he brings up being a Hyperion and all that bullshit. It's like, we're Hyperions. I'm like, okay, first of all, we have the Ulbrions, which are man-made Hyperions, so there's a lot of them. And then you have Elma Flora making all of Icarlet's friends, as well as all of Dukakis' men, Hyperion. So you know what? Being a Hyperion isn't unique anymore. It's kind of passé, so don't say it anymore, Dukakis. Let it go. You're no longer special. It's no longer just you and Kon, okay? You're not the only Hyperion, so that bullshit hit the fan a long time ago. Anyways, moving on past that, we see Dukakis' men, yes, incognito. They are siding with Dukakis, and they're prepared to go with him. And then we see Dukakis prepared to attack Frozo. I mean, come on. Dukakis versus a giant fuzzy monster. I don't see that ending well, in my opinion. Now, we are taking to a little cutscene with Kon, and Kon is being really serious right now. He tells Elma Flora, well, I should say, Kon tells Dukakis, aim for Frozo's little toe. I was like, what? So, this is Kon. He notices, you know, Frozo. He's like, okay, Dukakis and your men, aim for Frozo's little toe. The right foot, little toe. I'm like, okay. I was more interested to see if he could actually pull off something that Kon was talking about versus actually attacking just with his men randomly. But you know what, at least Kon had a plan. I didn't see Dukakis with one. Now, Kon's group jumps in as well, so Kon, Icarlet, Mirandel, Sanglion, they also join in with the attack with Dukakis. But you know, that really doesn't go anywhere. Apparently, Dukakis' group is, well, they're not saying anything. If that makes any sense, I'll say it one more time. This is Dukakis' group, you know, incognito. They're supposed to say, you know, this is my special attack, like XYZ, you know, whatever special attack you want to say, but they're just shouting random lines. So I guess they are saying something, but they're saying random lines instead of saying their special move. It's like, I'm going to kill you, blank blank special move. Go. I'm like, oh god, this is perfect. And Cone, he notices, like, wait a minute, you guys aren't even saying your special attacks. You're just making this random shit up. And Cone is now doing commentary while everyone's attacking. I'm like, that's beautiful, I love it. Of course, all of the attacks, they fail. They don't go anywhere. Now, Frozzo, he looks very pissed right now, and I thought that was definitely worth mentioning. He attacks the others, and it's like an intense fight right now between the fuzzy monster and everyone else. It gets pretty intense. I know, weird for me to say that about a fuzzy monster, an attack being pretty intense. Hey, I just went with it. It was pretty funny in my opinion. Now, I should also point out that Cone, he gets very serious and he tells Frozzo, well, who gave you permission to grow freaking big? I'm like, wait a minute. Cone is now talking down to Frozzo and he's saying, who gave you permission to grow so freaking big? What? Cone, are you talking down to someone that's bigger than you? A freaking giant fuzzy monster? I think so. I think someone just grew an extra pair of balls. Seriously, you did, man. More power to you, and I love how you were talking down to a giant monster that could kill you at any given time. And all I can say is, Cone, you did it. What the hell? Frozzo, yeah, he says, thank you, and then he apologizes. He says, my apologies. I'm like, wait a minute, so he's repenting? So Frozzo is repenting to Cone? What? No. Everyone else is stunned. It's like, wait a minute, Cone, you're getting through this monster. You're making him feel bad. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So he asks Cone, what can he do? So this is Frozzo. He's asking Cone, what can I do to make things better? And he's helping Cone now. So Frozzo is no longer on the Olga sorority side. He's on Cone's side. So Frozzo is now on Cone's side, and Cone is now riding him. You heard me right. Cone is now riding Frozzo. What the hell? Yeah, so we're taking to a little cutscene with Elma Flora, and she's giving us a little bit of information. She talks about Cone never using his true Hyperion powers. But wait a minute. Cone has never used his true Hyperion powers, yet he is a Hyperion, thanks to Elma Flora. So all those times we saw him use the sword and power up, that wasn't his real full potential. However, we've seen everyone else use their full potential. So Cone, he's never used his real Hyperion powers. Apparently, that's how he was keeping his hands clean? That doesn't make any sense. What? So all this time he could have used his powers and he was just getting his ass handed to him? Really? Oh, that's just fucked up. Anyways, his power of word are even stronger, apparently. So this is Elma Flora. She's basically explaining to us that the power of Cone's words are even more stronger than that of a Hyperion. Okay, that kind of makes sense. No, not really. But okay. Hey, you picked him, not me, okay? Elma Flora, you picked Cone to be the hero. Just remember that. So if he fucks up, it's on you. If he succeeds, well, it's thanks to you. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now Frozzo is now attacking both armies, both the Anti-Empire and the Jungle Burk. So he's attacking both now with Cone, and I thought it was perfect. Now Elma Flora does admit that Cone is the hero. He saved the world, and it was very unexpected. I'm sorry, Elma Flora, you said it was unexpected. I rant about this a lot in this review, but you picked Cone to be the hero. So saying it was unexpected means you had doubts about him succeeding. Elma Flora, what the fuck? You mind fucking us right now? You just did. Anyways, moving on past that, later on in the day, a peace treaty has been signed between the Empire and Jungle Burk, finally. So all the anti-Empire forces, they're now signing a peace treaty, just like Dukakis wanted. So that was definitely worth mentioning, but we don't really get to see it, though. I mean, there's not a lot of... We don't really get to see that. Now, we get to do a little cutscene with the Archbishop, and his men tell him they are ready to make another Frozzo. That's right. The Archbishop's men, they want to make a second Frozzo, because the first one obviously failed, and then Dukakis, along with Incognito, appear out of nowhere. Very random, and they ruin the Archbishop's plan. I'm like, wait a minute. Really? So the Archbishop now passes out, but I'm like, wait a minute, so we're just going to end this whole thing with defeating the Archbishop here and now? Yeah, we just did that. So Dukakis is the one with Incognito. They get credit for defeating the Archbishop. Okay, that was unexpected. Now, moving on past that, we are thrown with a little bit of information about the celebration later on. Apparently, the king, yeah, that's Icarlet's father. I'll say it one more time. Icarlet's father, the king, he's now abdicated his throne because of health reasons? No, it's because he was going insane. He keeps forgetting people's names, what he was doing. Apparently there's a new king that has been crowned, but we don't know who that new king is. We can only assume that is one of Icarlet's relatives, brother, who knows, you know? We don't get that information, sadly. Now, Jungleberg's perversions have now come to light, and he's lost his standings within his kingdom, and now he's transferred his powers to his little nephew, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, Jungleberg, the one Icarlet was supposed to marry, now everyone knows about how much of a pervert he is. I mean, that's not really that sad, to be honest. We saw this coming, and instead of him just abdicating or doing something like Icarlet's father did, he transfers his powers over to his little nephew. And this little nephew, at least we get to see who the next ruler is of his country is, so it's his little nephew. So I thought that was kind of a little cute moment there, just with the nephew, not with Jungleberg, because he's just a pervert. But we are taken to another little cutscene with the Archbishop, and there's more information being thrown at us. I love this episode, it's full of fucking information. It's the last episode, right? Anyways, the Archbishop was tried. He went to trial, he was tried, and he lost everything. His power, his money, his men, his organization, everything. And guess what? His Olbreons, those man-made Hyperions, yeah, guess what? They're now doing hard physical labor like prisoners do. So those Olbreons are now being used as hard physical laborers. I'm like, okay, that kind of figures. Now, apparently following Kone's suggestion, Frozo, he actually moves to an uninhabited island. Really? I would have used Frozo for something else, for power, domination, something. I mean, seriously? You're just going to tell him, go to an uninhabited island and just live there? Okay. I mean, you had power, you just let it go, man. Now, we're finally taken to a really great scene between Dukakis and Kone. Yeah, the fight. The one that's been put off throughout this whole damn episode. No, not just episode, the whole series. We get to see Dukakis versus Kone, because Dukakis is pissed he doesn't have his balls because of Kone. That was the main reason, if you remember correctly. Other than his job set by the Olga sorority, which is no longer in effect because, you know, he no longer works for the Olga sorority. Sorry, I digress. Again, Dukakis versus Kone, just to settle, you know, old things from the past. It was a great thing. And then Incognito joins in as well. You know, KT, Leon, everyone else join in and they attack Icarlet, Mirandol, and it's an interesting fight. Kone uses his ultimate final pet weapon. Yeah, he throws pet at Dukakis. Of course, that was blocked by KT. Then we get to see it, Dukakis versus Kone yet again, and it gets really serious. We see Kone about to lose to Dukakis, and then Mirandol jumps right in at the last moment. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, the truth has now hit the fan. Mirandol tells everyone about Dukakis not having balls. Are you fucking kidding me? This hits the fan now. Mirandol, God bless you, whatever you are. God bless you. I love this. Love the expression. It's like, what? Wait, he doesn't have balls? What? So we're taken to a what the fuck moment. The biggest of the whole damn series. Mirandol, she wants to become a real woman. Kind of like how Pinocchio wanted to become a real boy. Yeah, I'm making a Disney connection here, so I hope you're sitting down for this. Again, Mirandol wants to become a real woman, and she's willing to give her balls to Dukakis. I'm like, really? Oh no, it gets better. Elma Flora, that bitch chimes right in. This is Elma Flora. She chimes right in. She's like, I can do that for you. I can use my magical powers, and I can transfer your balls to Dukakis, and you'll be even Steven. Really? Oh god, so you're the fairy godmother. Or you're that good witch of whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm talking about. This is definitely a Pinocchio moment right here and now. But anyways, we are taking to a little cutscene with Elma Flora, and she takes Mirandol's balls magically, and she gives them to Dukakis with a musical background. So while Elma Flora is magically taking Mirandol's balls and giving them to Dukakis, we hear a musical background music. It's a great musical background music, don't get me wrong, but this is an awkward scene to watch, and it's just fucked up beyond belief. And again, after everything is said and done with, Dukakis is now happy. He has his balls back, you know, he's good to go. And he's like, you know what, Kone? We're even, Steven, we're good. We no longer have any aggressions or anything like that, so we're good. And Kone's like, okay, we're good. So there's no fight, and I kind of feel like we were ripped off there, so it did hurt me. I'm like, what, no fight? Really? Ugh. So anyways, moving on past that, we see Kone, and he makes a sneaky move toward Elma Flora, and he's being a pervert. He's like, well, you promised to do me after I save the day. Time to collect. So this is Kone. He's collecting the promise that Elma Flora promised him, and she says, well, yeah, not now, Kone. She promises to do him in his house later on. So she's gonna do him in his room later on. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then under Elma Flora's breath, this is Elma Flora, under her breath, she says, yeah, all I can say is Ixions, they're not capable of fucking, pretty much. So, wait a minute. Ixions can't have sex, and yet somehow you promised Kon that you do him. Oh, you bitch. Now you're just shafting him. You're shafting him pretty bad. I hate that. Now, Kon, he's like all excited because he's about to get laid. He's like, Kon, I'm gonna get laid. You know, this is Kon. He's like, I'm gonna get laid by Elma Flora. Great. So he's like, you know what? Transport me back to my room. And guess what? He gets transported back to his room. So he's back in his own world and he's ready to get laid. And it's like, Carlos, whoa, wait a minute. He didn't say bye to us and blah, blah, blah. So Elma Flora magically takes Kon back from his world to her world. And we see, Carlet, and Carlet punches Kon. That's her way of saying goodbye. And of course it gets all emotional between Carlet and Kon. And again, Carlet slaps Kon on the face. He's got a red face now. And then Kon says goodbye to everyone in general. You know, big general goodbye. And then he literally gets the hell out of Dodge and he goes back to his own world. So Kon, he now awakes at his home in his room. And he thinks this was a big dream, this was a huge dream, but he notices, wait, Carlet slapped me on the face, it's still there, so this is real. No shit, really? Yeah, and then we see him walking out of his room, and then it's been 10 years later, and Kon is still a virgin. Yeah, 10 years later, Kon is still a virgin, and he's now summoned back to Elma Flora, back to her world. Yeah, and then at the end of the episode, we see Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer second season. It's a joke. There cannot be a second season to this, plain and simple. But again, at the end of the episode, it says Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer season 2. Really? And Kon says, yep, I won't do that. And again, that's where the episode ends. As for my final thoughts, oh well, first of all, who is the king? I'm just definitely going out there with my final thoughts here. Who is the new king of the empire? After Carlet's father abdicated, who's the new king? Is she the new king / queen technically? Or was it her brother or one of her relatives? We really don't know. As for Dukakis, I would have thought he would have done something with Mirandel now that she's a real woman. They had a connection in previous episodes. I thought that was going to go somewhere, but apparently he's going back to his fiancée, Irina. Okay, fine. To each their own. As well as what happens to KT, which is part of Incognito. Remember, KT was in love with Dukakis, and now that everyone knows she's a woman, we really don't get to understand. Where does that go from there? We really don't know. Moving on past that, what happens to Sanglion and Mirandel and everyone else? We really don't know that either. I mean, what the hell? And Elma Flora, really? Ixions can't have sex? Well, do you have the parts in the right area like real humans do? Because I think Kon can still work it. But again, that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4.5 out of 5. Yes, I want to give this a 5 out of 5, but I feel shafted. We didn't get to see a battle between Kon and Dukakis, plain and simple. So, again, final rating, 4.5 out of 5. I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5 because the comedy was there. Hell yes. Loved it. Was there a drama, romance, slightly kind of creepy in my opinion, but it was definitely there. But this episode in general was information, and it was the end of the series, so definitely had to give points all around. Now, if I'm scoring this for the whole series, I'd have to give this again a 4.5 out of 5. So for this episode, it's a 4.5 out of 5. For the whole series, the whole anime series, 4.5 out of 5. But again, guys, that ends it for my rating. Again, final rating, 4.5 out of 5. And again, that ends it for my walkthrough review of Ixion Saga Dimension Transfer episode 25. But definitely comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down. Definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. But let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think's gonna happen in the next episode that's coming out. But again, guys, that ends it for now, and I gotta hit the bricks, and I gotta go. Before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it, you can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.